Oh, I can't wait to see Herschel. Where is he? Oh. What I love about The Walking Dead is they're very careful about how... And Carol's wearing a face mask. It's very admirable how they've made these 6 episodes with such quality during a pandemic. But how did they not see Carol with the biggest piece of plastic I've ever seen on anyone's face ever? The camera stayed on her for like a year, and they didn't see. It's good to be safe, but they've ruined my immersion. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing and breaking down Season 10, Episode 17, Home Sweet Home. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe so that you are the first to see my videos. Episode 17 was very conversational.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi. Hey.
Something that was actually quite noticeable in this episode was it does sound more like improv, which isn't a bad thing. The way these 6 extra episodes came about is AMC actually came to the writers and almost challenged them to make episodes with fewer characters on screen, and in a shorter amount of time than usual come up with a script for it. Now, it's not like it's noticeable in a bad way, but it's noticeable in the way that episodes are more relying on the conversation now. In the way that in the later seasons of The Walking Dead, season 7 and 8 especially, the dialogue does sound quite robotic. I've seen a few comments word it like, the way they talk, everything they say could end up on a t-shirt. And sometimes in shows and movies it can feel like that, and The Walking Dead has been guilty of that before. But in this episode, it was different. Not to say that the script was necessarily better in this episode, but the lines of the characters came out more like it was improvised, and it came across well. I do have some issues with some stuff that happened, which I'll talk about in a minute. One of them is Daryl. He was great this episode, but it was almost like it wasn't actually Daryl.
You alright?
When has Daryl ever done that? What's he so happy about to be swinging around and shit?
Long way back. Cover our tracks.
That's the weirdest thing Norman Reedus has ever done, and I've played Death Stranding. We'll touch more on Daryl being a big weirdo later on in the video. Episode 17 starts off with Maggie killing a walker. Now, you might have noticed about this walker, it has a Whisperer mask on. At first I sat there and I was like, oh, what the f***, I could have done a better makeup job than that. I know they're limited this time, but come on. But this walker is important because they're still showing the aftermath of the Whisperer War. They didn't just vanish after Beta died, they are defeated and they're showing it here. We know there were hundreds of Whisperers, so I would want them to show more of them. These rebelled Whisperers, maybe even taking some of them in. But a reanimated walker still works. It's not like they've just made out they've all vanished. And then we get a conversation between Maggie and Judith, which is really good. For some.
The sky was filled with stars, and I told him right now, Mom's looking at the very same stars as us.
I've said the same to Herschel.
I hope you fucking didn't. That's cruel. Herschel's dad isn't looking at anything. He's dead.
He's safe. Hey Maggie, I didn't escape if that's what you're thinking.
This scene was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, purely because we saw the table reading and it made it look like they just had this conversation, and it would have been really anticlimactic if they just stood there and on impact made up after all the time that has passed and all that Maggie's been going through. It was really good and awkward. It's the right kind of cringe. Negan couldn't have said anything better, mainly because he didn't know what to say. He says, hey Maggie, and she just walks off crying. I think this is the best thing that could have happened. And I can tell you right now, not even just by Maggie's reaction, just how they made Negan look in this episode. Even if he's completely fine in these 6 episodes, even if he doesn't get exiled and here's Negan, I think they're setting him up for something in season 11, and something bad is going to happen. The biggest thing with Negan is, at the end of the episode when they arrive back at Alexandria, Maggie and Herschel are walking down. And it's not about Maggie, it's Negan. He's realising that something is on the horizon. He's also seeing Herschel and feeling really guilty. That's what that look is. He's seeing him and he's thinking, I killed your dad. And on the subject of the final scene, we got another great song that The Walking Dead has used in an episode. And like the others used in The Walking Dead, it has great meaning. The song used was Leonard Cohen, You Want It Darker. It was a cover by Anita Lester. Leonard Cohen wrote this song based around accepting your own morality. In the first lines of the song, he's talking to God. If you are the dealer, I'm out of the game. If you are the healer, it means I'm broken and lame. If thine is the glory, then mine must be the shame. You want it darker, we kill the flame. Magnified, sanctified be the holy name. Feel the fire crucified in the human frame. A million candles burning for the help that never came. You want it darker, then get out my fucking face. That last line I just made up myself, but it's a song of accepting and suffering, and I do think it was put in the episode for Negan. After all he's already done to try and redeem himself, he's still got to answer to it, and I think he knows that. As much as I wouldn't really want him to, I do think he's still going to get some kind of punishment, because all these other characters are going to choose Maggie over Negan. And whereas the table read made it look like Maggie was over it, she's not. Daryl was so good in this episode. I say he was different, but it's not like a really bad thing. He was definitely more softer. Whether that was the arrival of Maggie that did it or the end of the Whisperer War, he's happy. In the scene where Maggie sees Hilltop destroyed and Carol reveals that she was the one that let Negan out, you can just see how uncomfortable Daryl is. He's like, oh shit.
Negan was with the Whisperers that night. We were gonna lose everything.
There was something about Daryl that was so innocent in this episode, and I really loved it. It's almost cute. I never use that word. It made him really socially awkward.
You let him out?
You actually use your initiative and help win the war, Carol? What the fuck? Honestly, shut up. What Carol did is not nearly as bad as you leaving, literally running away because you're weak. Leaving the group, and by the way, losing Enid, Jesus, and Tara to the Whisperers because you were gone. You had no part in helping at all. And although, yeah, you did get the letter in the finale, we saw you got it. You did not come back to help the group. You came back because you needed a place to go. Maggie reveals in this episode that their community was destroyed. Their people were killed. Maggie stopped even sending letters. She basically cut Daryl off, and Daryl was worried that something had happened to her, and I just feel bad for Daryl and the rest. Like, she left them. I don't know why the narrative right now is that we've got to feel bad for Maggie. Oh yeah, no, power to Maggie because she lost Glenn. It was 10 years ago, and Negan has went through so much since then. Does Negan still deserve to be in a cell? Maybe. But what he went through has to mean something, and that's why I think he won't die, but it's really likely he gets exiled. Or if he does stay at Alexandria, Maggie's just going to have more of a grudge. Maggie does say to Daryl that she's come to terms with the fact that Carol let him out. So Maggie isn't completely bad for doing that. She does come to terms with it, and it was fair that she'd be shocked by it. Joke about how Kelly's doing sign language to Daryl, and he'd be like really confused by it, but the sweet side to it is Kelly is using sign language to almost keep the existence of Connie alive. In this episode, we were introduced to
Elijah and Cole.
They're okay, they've both got their own character to them. Cole's a bit of a
Enough!
but I like him. It's good that he's not a boring character that just says yes to everything. I really liked what they did with Elijah. You know, he's such a cool looking character. Well, it gets to the point where we just start seeing his eyes, and it was quite disturbing. Well, it gets to the point they have to take on the Reapers, which I'll get onto the Reapers in a minute. But the greatest thing they did with this character... Now let's talk about the Reapers. They're the whole reason Elijah was scared in the first place, which makes you scared. The fact that this guy that appeared to carry himself well was terrified about facing them. He was literally frozen with fear. So, who are the Reapers? I do think they're a smaller group of old men. Yeah, they've got military gear, but I think people, the name Reapers, Grim Reaper, they take, they kill, they reap. That's all they do. I think it's very one-sided. They just kill. There is no other side to it. And that's why I was so fascinated with Maze. I knew there was more to him. I think he's the leader of this group. Do I think it's a big community? No, I do think it's going to be about maybe 30 people at the most, maybe 100, but I'm just thinking of right now a 20 to 30 sized group of old men with military gear. Right now I don't think there's any rhyme or reason or ulterior motive. I do think they just want to kill. And that's why Maze seems to enjoy tormenting Aaron, making him play a game of Russian roulette. That's literally sadistic. And that's why when I think of villains of The Walking Dead, I can't think of ones that have been evil. They've each had their own thing that's made them think they're in the right, that they're the good guy. But with Maze, with the Reapers, I think they are evil. If you are sadistic, if you enjoy pain, you are evil. A Reaper starts sniping Maggie's friends, and even Daryl's like, oh my god, where?
Oh, shit.
Do you see how different Daryl is? Like, it just seems unlike him to stand behind the tree like that and be like, oh shit, another one. This Reaper in particular, when he saw he was beat, blew himself up. I think he did it more because he thought they were going to kill him either way, whatever he said. You know, he didn't reveal any information, and he got the kill himself. The fact this Reaper had a ghillie suit on to pick off innocent people That is evil. Maggie did ask him who they were, why they're going after them. They did nothing to them, and he didn't say anything. There's a chance that they've done something to them, but I doubt there's something Maggie and her group did accidentally to piss them off, to make them start burning their people alive and shit like that. It looks like Maze tricks Gabriel and Aaron into thinking he's nice. He takes them in and stuff, and then starts playing around with them, and yeah, it just looks like they enjoy the power. It's a bit like DayZ. If you've ever played DayZ, you start off with nothing and already you run into some guy from Northern England and he's like, drop your food, drop all you've got, and he takes all your stuff at gunpoint just for the joy of it, because he can, because he's been playing it all day and he's got better stuff than you. I am a little bit bothered how this unnamed character gave more of a fight to Daryl than Beta did in the finale. In fact, Daryl got done over by one swing into the tree and he got knocked out by it. With that, his gear, and the way he tried to trap Maggie, that could suggest they really are military. Of course, ex-military, but they use all their skills and all they learned in the military on innocent people. Now, when Maggie was screaming at him, asking him who they were, he said,
Pope marked you.
Pope marked you. Fucking hell. You know, I was saying ex-military, but that sounded very Northern England. I was just talking about that, that's weird. God, it really is like DayZ. But he said Pope marked you. Pope. Could this be a code name for their leader? I find the Reapers almost more interesting than even the Whisperers, because there's so much that is still unknown, which is why I'm so excited for Aaron and Gabriel's episode where they run into Maze. I think my only complaint about this episode is when Daryl first sees the grown-up Herschel, basically meeting Glenn's son for the first time now that he can talk, and it was pretty much off-screen. What you see right now is me zooming in on the scene in slow motion. That's all we got. But what did you think? How did you find this episode? Who do you think the Reapers really are? Who is the Pope and why have they marked Maggie? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Press the like button if you enjoyed this video. It helps me out and will get it seen by more people. If so, check out my other ones. Check out my most recent one for 10 shocking facts about Rick Grimes that you didn't know. And of course, make sure you subscribe so that you're the first to see my videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.